to Welcome to Jackie's Literary Corner. I am Jackie, and it's time for my first book update of May. And I'm actually off this whole weekend. This starting today, thankfully, which is nice. And that was actually because my coworker Mario had a doctor's appointment, and he asked if I could switch with him. So I didn't. He's working on my Sunday, so I would have originally had to work on Sunday, but he's taking that shift for me, so that will be so. It's kind of nice to have the whole week, to actually have the weekend. So today basically I just took my mom out for breakfast, and we ran some errands, and I did actually get a book at BJ's, which BJ's is like a Costco. It's a whole, like a warehouse type store, so it has like food and clothes, and there's pharmacy items. There is a little place where you get, sort of restaurant. I mean, it's not actually a restaurant, it's just a hot dog pretzel place. Which the BJ's back where I used to live was the same, I think offered the same thing. You can buy things in bulk for a little cheaper, which is nice. My mom really liked that. And they have a table of books, a lot of kids books, coloring books, and both kid and adult coloring books, recipe books, and then some regular. It's a lot of the stuff that you get. Like it's not a huge collection, but it's kind of like the bestseller type books, the books that are the generically popular books. And I don't mean that as an insult. I just mean that they're the books that a lot of people are reading, that aren't just like everybody loves them, or most people enjoy them. Like I saw some, James Patterson, all the books he writes with other people. There were 2 Stephen King books there, the Holly book, and then You Like It Darker. I thought about that, getting that one, but I decided not to. And like a lot of romance novels and some thrillers, crime dramas, some nonfiction, and I ended up getting the only one that I was really interested, that actually got me, which normally I try not to buy hardback books, but this is a hardback, and it's a small book, so it's not as big of a deal. That is Paul Revere and the Ride. Paul Revere and the Night That Saved America. So I wasn't sure if it was a nonfiction or like a fictional take on the event, but I think it is nonfiction. Which gave me an idea that this July about doing a theme of the American Revolution. I mean, I have thought about doing that theme before. I just never got around to it last year. So maybe I'll do it this year. Of course, I say that and I end up not doing it because I get sidetracked by reading other books that don't have to do with that. But this is basically the Paul Revere is the guy who announced the British are coming, and during so it's a very famous event in American history. And this was sounded like a really cool, so I've always been interested in American history, our history, and what happened, when all the events that happened in the Revolution, the American Revolution, all that. I mean, in fact, I am just read The John Adams by David McCullough, and I really liked the stage musical Hamilton, and then I also listened to the audiobook by Ron Chernow, and let me rephrase that. The audiobook of the book Hamilton that Ron Chernow wrote. But I've been slowly collecting these. Like, I also have the book on Samuel Adams, and I got a bunch of a couple of Jefferson books on Jefferson. I have a Benjamin Franklin biography, and then there's another John Adams biography that I would like to get. And then there's the biography on Abigail Adams. And then there's one on the Adams family. And actually, every time I hear Taylor Swift's the American Dynasty song from I think it's from is it folk I don't know if it's Folklore or Evermore, which one it's from, but which album it's on. But every time I hear that song on my iPod, I think about the Adams family now. Not the spooky kooky family, but the John Adams' family. Which that's funny because my dad when I was reading the John Adams biography and I was talking to my dad about it, he wasn't. I had to correct and assure him that I'm not talking about the Adams family, but the historical Adams family, the John and Abigail and all them. So I could read, start. So I might do that. I might in July do a bit of a American Revolution theme. I mean, the only hesitancy, of course, is because July is also Jane Austen July month. So, I mean, granted, I don't have to participate, and I can just read one or two books. Like, I could find a way to do both. But what ends up happening is when I try to do more than one readathon in a month, is that I end up overdoing it and have multiple books going, and then I never finish anything. But it would be really cool to read about this event in history, this great event, and I feel like, that there is a way to make nonfiction read like a story. I mean, that's what, true crime is. I feel like it's telling a nonfiction event in a entertaining kind of way, engaging kind of way. The only problem is that a lot of people have started to feel like true crime kind of glamorizes the tragedy, and true fiction is based on real people and their real experiences, people that were, murdered, or people that, experienced horrible things happen to them. And sometimes they glamorize the person who did the horrible thing. And we don't want that. I mean, why would, you don't want to make this person, even if, we're not saying, even if we are saying that they did a horrible thing, we're still giving attention to that person, acting like they're, they're some, treating them like a celebrity. And, we shouldn't do that. But I think we have this morbid curiosity and fascination with these kind of things. But then, there's other subjects that can be, talked about in a fun way. Like, I mean, if it's a book about an object or music or, or something, then yeah, that'd be, I mean, it would be tricky to tell in a fun, entertaining. You could do it, but it I feel like with nonfiction, it depends on the topic. Like something like this, obviously, I feel like you could do it in an exciting, entertaining, engaging way, without not just stating the facts, but tell it like a story. And that's the impression I get from the back description, is that's what this book is doing. So that's the only thing I bought today, as far as books. I mean, I bought other stuff, but that's not, that was just... I did want to show you, this is my thing I got off of Etsy along with my mom's Mother's Day gift. A reading journal. See, I've tried multiple times to do bullet journals, but I'm not an artist. I can't draw. I cannot do straight lines. And then when I try to draw, try to do a straight line, I get frustrated and I get bored. So no, I don't need someone to be like, oh, it doesn't matter if you don't have to be an artist or anything. It's like, I just don't want to do it. I genuinely don't want to do it. And so, I mean, I like the idea of bullet journals, but I'm just not. And I know you don't have to draw pretty pictures or anything in a bullet journal, but you know what? I just want to, write down the information about the book, and write a sort of review. And I do have those. I do have two regular, book tracking journal types, but they're smaller in size. But it was actually a recommendation from someone on BookTube, and they are great. I mean, a lot of this information is the information they asked for to keep track of your books. It's the same in here. It's just I don't like the size of those two. So I don't like bullet journals, and I don't like the size of the two that I have. So I spotted this one. And I am very pleased. First, I like the color. I've always loved green. This is Duncan and Stone is the company, and this was you could get a pink one or this one, and I thought I didn't like the pink, the lightness of the pink, and that can get dirty more easily. Or at least you can see the dirt if it does. And so I picked this color. This forest green color. Actually, I mean, the pink kind of looked more salmon, so it was a little more a light orangey color. But you have a ribbon bookmark, which is nice. And now it is hard to, it doesn't stay open, so you kind of probably have to, kind of do like what you would do with a book, like break it a little bit so it will stay open. But here's one of the pages. So you have the title of the book, the author, the date you started and the date you finished, which Goodreads, I know people take issue with Goodreads and it's old and dated, but I am able to get the information I want on Goodreads. And instead of having one star rating thing, it has you can do overall the plot, you can rate the plot and the writing and then the characters. So I do appreciate that. And then it has a format, and I like where you have paperback, ebook, audiobook. I don't know if you guys can see them. Ebook, audiobook, or hardback, which I like. And then we have, ease of reading, numbers 1 through 5. And then did you like the ending? And then you put the book summary there. Let's see. And then you have a favorite quotes, which I am really bad at collecting. I am not good. It's easier for me to get quotes from movies and TV shows. Because it's I'm hearing, I think it's because I'm hearing an actor say the line, make the quote. So it's easier to remember because I can hear it in my ear, a voice, attached a voice to the quote, a literal voice, not just, a character name, and then, and then the dialogue. And of course with, and then with, a book, unless I have a pencil or pen with me, which I don't carry a pen or pencil 24/7. So, I have to mark it. And, that's when I will dog ear pages, because I do. So yes, maybe this makes me a hypocrite, because I have complained about dog earing before, but I've started to dog ear, not to bookmark the page, but to or at least not bookmark it for, I'm going to read this later. It's more bookmark it so that I can go back to that page if there's something in there I want to, making a mental note. If there's something about it that I wanted to underline or, remember it, remembered or something. And then I undog ear it. So yeah, I admit I do dog ear a little bit, but not as a bookmark. And then, so you do the summary, and then you have review notes. And then on the bottom, if you can see it, it's would you recommend this book, and name the person you would recommend it to. There's really only a few people I would recommend. There's only like a couple people I would actually recommend books. So I will rarely probably fill that line, put someone there, because there's really only like one or two people. Because I'm trying to get my mom more into reading, and she does like an occasional romance or drama about life or something, but she's not a big reader. My dad reads a little bit. And he has like 2 books out, and he's working on a third one, by the way. Shadows of Saigon, and what is that? I cannot remember. I'm trying to promote my dad's books, and I don't remember the title of his second book. Sage Among the Pines. Shadows of Saigon is a Vietnam story, coming of age with a romance. Young man is in the Vietnam War. We get his high school experience, and then he goes to Vietnam War, and he meets the love of his life. And then Sage Among the Pines is about a teenage girl. Her dad died in, I think, Iraq, one of those places, and her mom has had a lot of, I think, drinking issues or something. And she ends up sending her daughter, and because she can't take care of her daughter, she sends her away to live with her grandparents in North Carolina. And she lives there for a while and learns some life lessons from her grandfather. And they have a ranch, so she learns to take care of horses and and horseback riding. And then the other book, I don't know what he's going to call it, but it is I think it's World War II, and about what happened to these women who were forcibly taken, I think, was it by German soldiers, in France, and this woman was a survivor. And in modern day, these people discover her records, her recordings of the event, of her memories, like her diaries, when they find her old house. I don't know what he's going to call that one, but that one, But anyway, I will let you guys know if you guys are interested. But anyway, but he has specific like books he reads. Like he reads a lot of nonfiction. Growing up, he liked Michael Crichton. Mostly right now, I think it's just nonfiction. He doesn't read a lot of fiction anymore, but he used to. But anyway, but I would love if either of them read. We could talk about a book. Do a book club kind of thing, a book discussion, read the books at the same time. And then, of course, my sister reads she doesn't really have, I know they say you make time, but she has 3 kids, and she has a job, so I feel like it's a little, to assume, yeah, you can make the case of, if you really want to read, you'll make time. But sometimes I think people like who have kids and a regular job, it's kind of hard for them to get into reading, so I think it's a little, she's kind of exhausted by the end of the day and just wants to crash on the couch and veggie out and spend time with her husband and watch Netflix. And sometimes she has a bunch of other things to do, like that she didn't get to during the day. So, yeah, I don't, I feel like it's not as simple as, you'll make time. Like, I mean, I think mostly that's true, but I think there are some, it's not always the case. But anyway, so, like I said, I brought that all mentioned that because they're, you know, they're not readers. So they don't read as much as I do, so I don't really have anyone to, except for Larissa and maybe Terry. I mean, Terry does read. She's a reader, but we have different tastes in books. Larissa would be more open to my types of books. So I really, if I recommend, it's always gonna, in most cases, it's gonna probably be my friend Larissa. So this will oftentimes be blank. But, and then, let me see, is there anything in the, okay, so there is in the back, there is a section, a wrap-up section. Let's see that, yeah, in the back of the book, there is a wrap-up section, it has each month. So what I've been doing, I mean, I'm bought this and, you know, now I have this, so I'm going back and looking at my Goodreads and putting the books in here for the year. So that will be, it's not just a monthly calendar. That's what I'll probably do is like at the end of the month, either in December, I'll buy myself another one of these books or something else. So I can have one for every year. But anyway, so we have all the months, January through December, and then there's a little notes section. Do like this, and then we have favorite book of the month section. Oh, yep, I knew there was more. Okay, so, and then we have, okay, so, let's see, so it's favorite book of the month, and then reading challenge, which I could, you know, I should look into that. I mean, what I will probably do, what I need to learn to do is either write something there in using my erasable pens, or write in pencil. Now, I don't know, some of these I'm not sure if I'll do or not, because there's some of these, like, self-help, for instance, I'm not as into reading self-help books, you know, and then there's, I mean, I would have plenty of answers for a book considered to be classic. Okay, and then the last page is the year in review. Okay, so number of books listened to, and most read genre, number of 5 stars. Okay, so, and then we have the section that says Winner's Circle, which is overall favorite book. I always have trouble with that one. I'm not very good at picking that one. But the best writing, best plot twist, I can't stop recommending. Which, I don't know if I'll ever have an answer for that one, because I don't directly tell people, because I believe reading is subjective, and everyone has different interest, and likes different types of books, you know, so I feel like that's kind of a hard one to come up with an answer for that one. I mean, I guess you can have multiple people that you know, recommend a book to, well, I don't know. I probably won't have an answer for that one. Okay, so the most insightful, the most surprising, the best fiction, best nonfiction, book I would reread, and book that made me cry. Okay, and then at the very front is the very first section. The very first couple sections are, you have books completed. And then, it's 2 pages. And then, books to read. So I started filling that out. And I went ahead and just put it in pencil. That way I can, I mean, granted, I have erasable pens too. But, so I've already put Brothers Karamazov, which I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Ship of Magic. And the Recognitions, which I don't know if the Recognitions will get read, but And then let's see if there's any more. Okay, so both those sections are 2 pages each. Okay, so this is Duncan and Stone is the company. And I found this on Etsy. So if you guys have Etsy accounts or you have gotten stuff from Etsy before, and if you're like me and don't like using bullet journals and don't want to just rely on Goodreads or Storygraph, I mean, although I think Storygraph people are fine with, it's Goodreads people are not fine with. But I still use Goodreads because just, I don't have any serious problems with it. I know that people, other people do, but anyway, so that's just wanted to show this off. Okay, so next, I still don't know what my TBR is going to be this month. I keep going, changing my mind, and I'm trying not to prioritize reading a book just so I can have a book finished. I'm trying to, but it makes me anxious if, not having anything finished. Like, I want to at least have something finished, by the end of the month. But anyway, I'm currently reading The Rose Labyrinth by Tatiana Hardy, which I kept forgetting to mention this book that I started this, because I think I started at the end of April, the last couple days of April. But this was one of the ones that I've, looked at Goodreads reviews, and there are mixed reviews on it, and I want to try not to rely on Goodreads. I mean, it does help, like I said before, it helps with making decisions so I don't end up buying like 4 or 5 books, when I go to places like Givens, and I stick to like my 3 book limit, and it helps me narrow it down, because there are days when I will have multiple options. Or, I mean, sometimes there will be days when it's just one option extra than my 3 book limit that I give myself. But, I mean, and sometimes every once in a while I've let myself get 4 books. But, so that's the reason why, because it's a lot I can't do when I'm in Books A Million, because the signal is terrible in my Books A Million. So, I can't really look at the Goodreads anyway, or, look up a book on Goodreads. I mean, I could ask, but then that would just, I could ask one of the sales reps, but I'm sure they don't all know every single book in there. I mean, they might. I mean, it's part of their job, I guess, so maybe they do. Or some of them know only certain genres. But anyway, but I want to read this without relying on what the mixed reviews, and just decide for myself, which is a little bit of a struggle, I mean, sometimes I do still get pulled to looking at reviews of a book and just seeing what other people think. But this whole premise just is really intriguing. Like, I love a premise where you have modern day people, and you have this conspiracy theory, or this history, this family is connected to famous historical people, or they're protecting something from the past, like the Ark of the Covenant, or or a plot like National Treasure, for instance. That I think is such a cool concept, and the idea of this family, that they're destined to guard this treasure, or they've been trying to find this treasure. And it brings us all the way up to modern day, where when this family, this is all about this whole legend of this treasure has been passed down from generation to generation. And it's this family is trying to, this family is protecting this secret or something. What does it say on the back? Evidence of Shakopathi's, this secret of these ideas discovered by John Dee. And I think John Dee's a real person. And how there's a bit of a puzzle going on, a bit of a mystery. Like, they have to, there's all these secret clues and stuff. And it just is really, just sounds like such a cool premise. And I don't want to, like, let Goodreads reviews turn me off from it. Because, just because the things that people complain about might not bother me, or I might not notice them, or I might not see it, or whatever. There's a chapter that I was a little confused who they were referring to at one point in a chapter, like, but, I figured it out, later on. But anyway, something happened to a character in the book early on that I was kind of surprised, because I was thinking they would be the main character. But they were kind of taken out of commission and after all, aren't the main character. They also have some interesting relationship dynamics here. There is. So I'm gonna see what happens. So I'm still reading this. I'm gonna read a little bit more today once I'm done filming. And then we have, so the other one, I decided to start over with Brothers Karamazov because it's been so long. And I know a lot of people will, say, oh, just look up a recap or something, which is what I'm going to do about Wheel of Time at some point soon. I need to do that. But I just decided, I want to start over with it anyway. And I want to be better at finding quotes that I like as well. So that I can, have some quotes to put in there that I like. Because, I do like quotes and stuff. I mean, it's just that it's easier for me to find quotes via a movie or a TV show. And this time I actually read the introduction, and I'm currently getting ready to read the author's note. And and it actually helped reading the introduction because it kind of explained how our narrator, our omnipresent narrator, is not Dostoevsky. It's he's created a character with the narrator, and also, so Dostoevsky, I guess he wrote a lot of books when he was in prison, maybe, or something, or his prison experience inspired him. Which, yeah, I mean, it was a miserable, it was a probably crucial turning point and experience in his life. And even though it wasn't a positive because he was in jail, that's not pleasant. But it seems like his jail experience really inspired a lot of his writing. But anyway, this is also, I debate about, because, I like this edition, I'm cool with it, but I do want to start, there are these particular modern different editions that I really like, the ones that are white, and then there's a symbol on it that's colored in black, with the title and everything. I really like those. They're simple, but there's something about them that just is eye-catching for me. And there's another word I want to use for it. But I cannot remember what that word is. So, but I also like this one. I don't want to, again, change it up. So, there's some of Joyce Hennessey's other works I'm going to get in those editions. Maybe one day I'll buy that one too. And just have 2 copies of Brothers Karamazov. But, so, yeah, I'm gonna, so I'm starting over with this. So, yeah, I'm starting over with this. Which means I can't update on Goodreads or Storycraft anymore because they don't let you go back. I did think about, taking the book off the shelf and then doing it again, just starting over. I think you can do that. I don't know if you can, and I haven't tried it yet. But I might do that, remove it and then put it back and find it again and put it back on there and just start over. I don't know, I might do that. but yeah, so that's what I'm currently reading right now. Like I said, I don't know what I'm gonna, do the rest of this month. I mean, there are other books like Slaves of Solitude. I don't know who the author is, that I might start reading that one because it's not as long. And I'm not trying to be like, and I know I probably shouldn't, but it makes me feel good when I've had, can at least have one book finished by the month. And it's more me. I'm not trying, and I don't mean as, oh, I'm competing. I have to compete with everybody else. Because, I mean, I've already, already fulfilled my Goodreads goal. And it's not like I'm, I'm not trying to compete. I'm more competing with myself. And trying to, and it's not about trying to catch up with everybody or anything like that. I mean, like I said, I've already met my Goodreads goal. I decided to make it a really low goal, and I've already fulfilled it within those first 3 months. And I don't know, I'm thinking about, I wonder, because I know that a lot of people like Murphy and Napier are doing quarterly wrap-ups, and I don't know, I'm thinking about, it's already too late for the first quarter, so, I might do a wrap-up of the first half of the year. Maybe I should do that instead. Just, instead of doing a wrap-up of the whole year by the end of the year, just do, a wrap-up of the first half of the year and then do a wrap-up for the second half of the year. I don't know. We will see. But anyway, that is my reading right now, currently. I would love to know, as always, I would love to know what you are currently reading, and happy May Day. It's May, and I will talk to y'all later. All right, bye.